This is 8th grade, Module 4, Lesson 28 on another computational method for solving linear systems. So we've been plugging numbers in. We have isolated variables to find coordinates. Now we're going to use a method called elimination. Elimination is exactly what it means. We're going to eliminate one of the variables, and we're going to do that by setting up these problems together. So they're actually going to be stacked on top of each other, and we're going to try to eliminate one of the variables. So I always recommend rewriting the problem, because working on a worksheet where it's typed gives you very small writing space. So always rewrite it just so you have some bigger numbers to deal with. So you want to look at these two equations and think, which one can I get rid of? Well, I noticed right away that I have a positive 5 and I have a negative 5y. So those two cancel. There's my elimination. So I'm going to cancel these, and then this is all added up. So 6 plus 2 gives me 8x. And then this one here is subtraction just because that 5 is negative. So 21 take away 5 gives me 16. So my x equals 2. So the beginning of my answer so far is 2. Now I need to find my y. You can pick either one of these equations and plug in the x. I'm just going to go ahead and pick the first one again. So I'm going to say 6 times 2 minus 5y equals 21. That's going to give me 12 minus 5y equals 21. I'm going to subtract that 12 because I want that 5y by itself. Oops, and I wrote 5. Let me fix that. So subtract 12. Those cancel. I get negative 5y, and then 21 take away 12 gives me 9. Get that y by itself, so I'm going to divide by 5, negative 5 actually. The 5's cancel, and my y is going to be negative 9/5. And that's it. Let's go ahead and try the next one. Next one, we have two different equations, and as you can see, there really isn't one right away that stands out that we can eliminate. So you have to make it where you can eliminate one of the variables. So let's rewrite the problem. All right, I see that if I were to multiply this by a 2, I'd get a negative 4x. Then I could cancel my x's. So if I'm going to multiply this by a 2, I have to multiply the entire equation by a 2. So we put a big group of parentheses here. We put a 2 on the outside, and you're going to distribute that 2 to every number in the equation. So everybody gets multiplied by 2. So to rewrite this, I now will have negative 4x plus 14y equals 10. And then down below, I'm just going to rewrite what I have there. 4x minus 2y equals 14. All right, let's add these up, which I can tell right now. I got my cancel. 14 take away 2 is going to give me 12y. 10 plus 14 gives me 24. So my y equals 2. All right, so I got one part of my answer. Now I have to find the other part. And again, you can plug this y into either one. I'm going to go ahead and plug it into the bottom one. We're going to say 4x minus 2 times 2 equals 14. 4x minus 4 equals 14. And again, I want that x by itself, so I need to get rid of this 4. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Those cancel, and I get 4x equals 18. Divide by 4. Now 4 doesn't go into 18, but I can simplify this to 9/2. So my x is 9/2. All right, let's go to example 3. Just looking at it right away, I can tell there's nothing I can eliminate right away, so I have to make a modification. So I'm going to rewrite the problems again. All right. Now, after I make that, I see that I need to actually multiply both. I'm going to multiply this one by a -3, and I'm going to multiply this one by a +7. And what I'm trying to do is get rid of my x's here, okay? So everything up here gets multiplied by -3, and everything down here gets multiplied by 7. So I wind up with -21x plus 15y equals 6. And then in the bottom, we have 21x minus 21y equals 49. Okay, so if we go and add these up, I can see that my x is canceled, which is what I wanted. 15 take away 21 gives me -6y. 6 plus 49 gives me 55. Divide out that -6. And I cannot simplify that any further, so my y is -55/6. Now I need to find my x, so I'm going to plug that back into, I'll pick the bottom one. So we're going to say 3x minus 3 times -55/6 equals 7. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and simplify this part here. 3 can go into 6 2 times, so I wind up with 3x plus 55, and the reason it's a plus is because a negative and a negative become a positive, over 2 now equals 7. I'm going to subtract 55 halves. These cancel. Now this is a 1 under here, so I need it to be a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply this whole thing by 2, which is going to give me 14/2 minus 55/2. Now I can actually subtract those, and I get, I'm going to bring over my 3x here. 3x equals -41/2. I'm going to divide out that 3, and when I actually divide by 3, I multiply by 1/3 because I multiply by its reciprocal. Remember, you flip it around. And I can check my diagonals, nothing's going to reduce, so I just multiply straight across, and my x is going to equal -41/6. And there's my answer there. All right, you are going to go ahead and do numbers 1, 2, and 3. So that ends this video tutorial.